Al-Fatiha. I will repeat it in Arabic, and our brother Mark Shaheed will repeat it in English according to the interpretation of Imam W.D. Muhammad. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين.
With the name of God, the most merciful benefactor, the most merciful redeemer. All the praise and thanks belongs to Allah, the nourisher, the sustainer, the guardian evolver of all the systems of knowledge and science. The most merciful benefactor, the most merciful redeemer, the sole owner, ruler, master, and judge of the day of judgment and religion. You alone do we worship and serve and work for. You alone do we seek aid, assistance, and help. Guide us along the straight path, the path of those whom you have bestowed grace, favor, and blessings, not the path of those who have incurred your displeasure and wrath, not the path of those who have misread and was misled and thus went astray. I mean, Sadaka Allah Uzim, surely Allah has spoken the truth. Assalamu alaikum to you once again, Brother Henry Haseeb, and we're back. You was on the road last week, alhamdulillah, going to Milwaukee, and of course I was traveling also going to the DNA. And for those who don't know, the DNA stands for the Detroit Noble Annual, and that name was changed about 3 years ago from National to Noble by our brother Raphael, who was a close friend and confidant of Imam W.D. Muhammad. The Detroit Noble Annual W.D. Muhammad Muslim Convention that's now held annually in Inkster, Michigan. And Brother Henry, I know you asked me to kind of just give a little something in terms of a recap before we get into the topic, that we've selected, that we believe will be an ongoing topic in terms of education for perhaps the rest of this year, 2025. Want to say this is the the DNA. This is the 17th anniversary, and we say 17th anniversary because our beloved teacher and leader transitioned in the year 2008. So 17 years later, after that, the hope and the wish that Imam Muhammad had in terms of Detroit, which is Michigan, his home birthplace, that convention would continue. And so praise be to Allah, brothers like Imam Ezekiel Pasha, Imam Fazri, Imam Munir Muhammad, and others have continued that convention. This year's convention theme was I think an outstanding theme in terms of family, emphasis put on destiny of the human family and what the time and destiny and what should be done. The time and destiny of the human family and what must be done. And of course, most conventions and conferences began with the Salat Juma, and it's usually paves the way for the rest of the convention. It was a very outstanding khutbah that was delivered by Imam Ezekiel Pasha, who is the resident Imam of the historic Malcolm Shabazz Masjid there in Harlem, New York. And he put a tremendous emphasis on the importance of family and establishing family life and how we are to establish family life and the needs of the family in terms of talking about the role and responsibility that we have as men in being men and making sure that there are always reunions that are happening, that we come together united and calling the family together, standing up and saying what it is that we should be doing as members of the family, and that everybody has a role and responsibility. And one of the important things too, Brother Henry, is that education was mentioned in that. And he also referenced the book, in terms of Carter G. Woodson, The Miseducation of the Negro. We're talking about real education. The education is, those of you who know Imam Pasha like I do, it always is going to come around to work and productivity. This is big, and so he also re-emphasized that anytime you go to the DNA, it's always going to be said, this is a working convention. It's a working convention. Matter of fact, the property that it is on, many, many acres, with a lot of possibility for it, and all paid for there in Inkster, Michigan. And we want to just also, as a side note, to say that when that property was purchased with a state-of-the-art skating rink that's now open to the public and is making money, homes that have been rehabbed there where Muslims actually are living there, strip mall, in this building, formerly a performing arts place, is outstanding, magnificent, over 50, 60-something classrooms with lockers, state-of-the-art auditorium seating 1,100 people that you have there. You have a gymnasium, basketball court with bleachers in it. You have a tennis court. You have a football field. You have a baseball field. You have an Olympic-sized swimming pool. All of this is a part of the make-up of the home for human excellence. That's what it's called, human excellence that's there. And so when he said that this is a working convention, there's still work to be done that's there, that's ongoing by Brother Imam Munir Muhammad from Durham, North Carolina, takes a crew there. And there's other brothers from the East Coast, from Malcolm Shabazz, New York, some from New Jersey, that meet there periodically throughout the year. And there was those that had came 2 weeks early to get the work done. So this work that is really strongly emphasized in the khutbah, and the work that we have to do, as a family to establish ourselves. Imam Ezekiel Pasha referenced Surah 66:6. We know that 666 has, strong significance. We know in biblical scripture that it was mentioned that this is the mark of the beast. But just to show you, when we become students of the Quran, then we're seeing what God says. So the mark of the beast that was left on the minds of the people is that they had to take a flesh and blood man that was a noble, righteous prophet and messenger of God, and reduce him to being the son of God incarnated, to give his life and shed his blood to save and redeem us. And we're going to talk about that a little bit, in the educational process. But God says in the Quran in 66:6, as many of you know, God says, save yourself and save your family from a fire that is fueled with men and stone. This was emphasized in the khutbah of Imam Ezekiel Pasha. And this is very, 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 very important, in terms of how it is that we save ourselves. We have to devote time for the establishment of the sacred institution. And those of you notice I always say the sacred institution of family life and also marriage life. It's the cornerstone of human society, of civilization, that has to be sustained and maintained. A lot of emphasis was put on that. And also, after the khutbah, he also gave a workshop in terms of business. And he tied in business and economic development also with the sacred institution of family and marriage life, and gave information in terms of how many can begin to meet a potential mate. Yes, sometimes he said you have to travel. And in terms of family reunions, expanding our thinking in terms of family. So when God says in the Quran, save yourself and save your family, of course it starts with your immediate family. But if you understand something about the Quran, we know that there's many, many, many layers to what it is that God reveals, and that the broader picture is that you want to save the human family. And what saves us and what saves our family is always being consciously regardful of what God's word is, that contains God's will and his way for us. And then there was the workshop on Saturdays. There was numerous of workshops on Saturday. One of the ones I most enjoyed was given by our children, those that were SCMC campers, Sister Clara Muhammad's school campers, that each year in the month of July, on the property that is owned by the community there in Randolph, Virginia, or they gave in terms of from the youngest to the eldest, the things that they do in those 2 weeks. I mean, it's really, really beautiful in terms of the responsibilities that they have, that they're very, very conscious of the prayer. And let me say this, just to backtrack a little bit, the Adan was called by one of the young brothers, and so after the khutbah, then we make the 2 obligatory fard rakahs, and that was led by one of the youth. They put a strong emphasis on the youth, in terms of teaching and training the youth. And that's what was so impressive in terms of even the camp that they have and how they outline it in terms of there's a little fun that they have, but the education that they get and the manners that they teach and really I would say enforce in terms of yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am, and the respect for elders. I mean, it's so evident from the youngest to the eldest there. And the chores, they have chores. Each, came forth and said what their responsibility was. And they said it with a smile on their face. And the time that's taken, like in a halakha session, in terms of talking about the religion of al-Islam, reading the Quran after Salatul Fajr in the morning, and then the various trips that they have taken. So that's something that, we really want to look into. And I know that's not the only camp. We have other camps. I'm aware of the camp that they have there in the Queen City, Charlotte, North Carolina, where Khalila Akbar also is. So these are the type of things that we really want to highlight and we really want to promote in our community. Then there was Imam Dr. Kadir Abdul Sabor, a good brother, a former colleague here on AM 360 of mine, and all outstanding educator. He gave, and his wife, Sister Beverly Abdul Sabor, they gave an outstanding workshop in terms of bringing and introducing halal meat. And there's going to be a big conference that's going to be taking place September the 13th in that regard. So inshallah, on our sister station, we may hear something in regards to that, having them on as a guest in the MGM, that round table. And it become a family affair. So that kind of fits in at the time and destiny of the human family and what must be done. And so a lot of emphasis is put on in terms of family going into business and going to business and seeing the connectiveness, the bonding that actually happens when you are really conscious of the interest and concern of family life, the needs of family life, that you become a producer, which is very, very important. Then we had other workshops on crisis. We had a workshop in terms of really time management. That was an outstanding workshop. These persons that facilitated, I have their names and numbers, and at certain times we'll bring them forward so that they will have an opportunity to present what it is they actually are doing and all in the community. There's a lot of things that are going on positive in the community. And Brother Henry, I just want to say this. All of the workshops and things that were said was centered around education. And a lot of this education wasn't coming from people who had master degrees and PhD degrees. It's just like our leadership. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, 3 years in the Southern School. Our beloved Imam Waithuddin Muhammad, a high school education, 2 years of community college, and that was it. Pretty much the same for Malcolm, finished high school in that regard. So if we were looking at the standard in terms of society, they would academically they wouldn't get that type of recognition in terms of what the secular see as educated people in academia. But this just shows you that the power of Allah and what is a part of Allah's will and plan for us as human beings. And this is, I'm transitioning now to this production that Brother Henry and I have undertaken when he asked that we do something on education. And I said to him, I only would do it only by way of the Quran in that regard. Mm-hmm. So let's segue into this education being real education. Real education. Al-Quran, the final revelation, is real education that brings about a cultivation and a stimulation to and for a higher elevation of the human soul, the human heart, and the human intellect. And so as we continue to go into this and making these connections, we hope that you will be following along with us. We say that you should have a pen or a sharp pencil and plenty of notebook paper, because we think that some noteworthy things can and will be said. You know, Brother Henry, as you open up each and every Thursday morning with the Al-Fatiha, and I give something in terms of what Imam Muhammad had given in terms of that, we hope that those that are listening, that you just take your time. Take your time. Just start with the first ayat, where that then when you say it, and oftentimes it needs to be said, especially an English expression, especially when you have non-Muslims that are present, be conscious of that. If it's all Muslim, that's fine. But if you really want to help your community, give them the tafsir of Imam W.D. Muhammad. Not only will it help you, but it will help your community that never heard it before. And it makes so much sense, and you'll be able to explain it. You'll be able to elaborate on what God is saying in the first surah of the Quran, Al-Fatiha, the opening or the opener. So at this point, Brother Henry, I know I talked quite a bit, yes, but I know you gave me permission to do that.
Mark,
don't think. Yes, sir.
Before we get started, I see Brother Michael has had his hand raised up, and I want to see if he's got something important that he needs to say.
Let's go.
Assalamu alaikum, Brother Michael. If you'll unmute yourself, if you're aware that your hand has been raised.
Alaikum assalam. God's peace be upon you, Brother Mark, and the listening audience. Yeah, in line with what all that Brother Mark has shared, the knowledge body, and this is not my language, the knowledge body of Imam Waheed Muhammad, this terminology used by Imam Fahim Shuaib, recognizing that we all represent a knowledge body, but we've been gifted with a inspired common sense leadership to help strengthen our thinking and to call us away from emotional reactionary type thought into more reasonable use of our intellect. And lastly, I was fortunate to work with Imam Munir Muhammad on the team that worked on the skating rink, getting it prepared. It was about a 6 or 7 man crew, and we worked on the floor, brought that skating rink back that it had been closed for about 30 years. It had been closed.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I have to say lastly that Imam Ibrahim Pacha, master plumber, and
You mean Ezekiel? You say Ibrahim. You mean Ezekiel?
Ezekiel,
Yeah.
Ezekiel Pacha, yes. And I think we got there maybe around 6 o'clock or 5:30, and he was there working. He was there working, on the plumbing when we got there. So he represents.
Yeah.
He walks the walk as well as talk the talk. And I'll stop with that.
Yeah, yeah, and
Alhamdulillah.
thank you, Brother Michael. For coming on, and I don't know if you remember seeing me there a few years back. We actually met there in Inkster, Michigan. I had the
Yes.
pleasure of meeting you in person and everything,
It was
and that was,
mutual.
yeah, that was the time that really to appreciate what Brother Michael Hameen just said. And this is why we really do have to travel. We have to see these things for ourselves. The shape that it was in. And just imagine a building being closed up for that many number of years. And just imagine that the plan was for Inkster, which I think is at least 95% African American, they were going to demo that and run a highway through it. Yeah, Brother Michael, I don't know if you remember that, but they was going to do that. And it was the purchase of this formerly performing art building, the skating rink that Brother Michael is speaking about, strip mall, and all the rehabbing the housing and everything that really saved this African American community from going under. And there's a lot of rich history that's there in Inkster. And Brother Michael, I tell you, you would really feel proud if you saw how it's functioning now. It is being productive. There is an income that's coming in. The floor is so beautiful, it's shining. If you've gone to other skating rinks like I have, I was a decorator. I used to do one of the major skating rinks here in the STL. It is second to none. The concession places that they have for food and everything is there. It's just beautiful. And we was there this Saturday. They kind of changed the format where the public, come in, and it was a full house. It was a full house, and everybody paid to get in. Everybody paid to get in. This is the type of thing that we're looking at. The implementation of this, as Brother Michael was speaking about, and I'm going to add this too because this is very important, the language and knowledge body of Imam W.D. Muhammad, because after you get all of this, then you're obligated to do something with it,
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be part of the judgment. What did we do with what it is that Allah has given to us? And so this is truly a blessing. So thank you so much, Brother Michael, for coming on and saying that.
Thank you.
Because it was brothers like yourself and others that came on and they saw the condition. It almost like you would have to have a picture. I wish we could put a picture of before and after so that we would have some type of knowledge. Well, just use your imagination because Allah has given that to us. Your imagination. Just imagine if you left a building for so many years and just left it vacant and just the natural deterioration of it and everything. But it was through the effort, dedication of those brothers who came early and worked on it as a team, getting it together, and now it's functionable and it's producing. That's what it is. The Imam Ezekiel Pasha, he really pushes that we have to be a productive people. Not just talk.
Yes.
I know that resonated with Brother Mike. I'm using some of that language, but it's not just talk. You see, so the movers and the shakers really move the community forward in a progressive way. So to make that trip, please consider it. I mean, don't just listen to what it is that I'm saying or Brother Michael saying. Make it part of your plan, inshallah, God willing, that I want to have that experience. I want to go to a place, you understand, that is ours. And it's all paid for. You're not still paying on it. It's paid for. And that there's still some work to be done and to see what type of contribution can you make. You know, so thank you so much. I appreciate you coming in and saying that, because what has been accomplished has been human labor and been the dedication and commitment to community members that saw something had established, initiated, and then we saw that there was something to be done. I wish I could do more, but I have to promote that every year. So that's my contribution. To promote that every year.
Mark, we definitely need a lot more of that. And communication today is very, very important. We got to find, like we're doing here on AM 360 on Zoom, we got to be able to communicate the education. Like you say, if we don't do that, then it's just staying with us. And education is no good if you don't put it to use. But we do have another hand raised here. Probably want to make a comment on that. Our brother Muhammad Sharif. Assalamu alaikum. And we want to hear your comment.
Wa alaikum assalam to everyone. Was this recorded? Because I just missed the first 30 minutes of it. Is it recorded?
Let's see. I'm pretty sure. Let's see. I didn't handle that.
Yes, sir. It's on.
It is being recorded.
On
okay,
YouTube,
all right.
And it's being recorded as well.
Okay, okay. Smart recording is enabled. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
I gotta learn how to go back and get it. I'm not sure either how we do it there, but I see up on the screen. If for those of you who have your computer, I see. We are bringing up some stuff about the Inkster area there. Look like a hotel, Twin M Hotel. Is that what is happening here?
Twin Elms Motel.
Is it operational? Is it something we need to make operational?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, but Inkster, as Mark was saying, is a very is a town that is with a large population of African American, and we have these areas throughout America. I know we have an area here. Just it's great opportunity, but as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad used to say it's the opportunity is for the wide awake man. And what I do sometimes is analyze things there. If you're not wide awake, then you don't see the opportunity. When we look at our community, as a whole, you may be individually, there we know there's individual success that contribute to the community overall success. But if the community is not wide awake, then it won't see the opportunity. And you know what they say about opportunity, it comes, but if you don't take advantage of it, it will pass you by. And I think we got some opportunities, and I don't know if it's communication, how, but the people need to be aware of it. Just to think now, Mark, we are talking about the Quran. And we know this Quran was revealed to Muhammad the Prophet, peace and blessing be upon him. But just think, if he decided to keep that to himself and didn't want to share it and didn't share it with anyone, where would the world be today? So it's important for us to be able to communicate and share with each other, because a lot of times, if you don't know, then the shaitan can get in there and he can have you an attitude that something that should be good, he makes bad because you don't have the proper information. And that's what I see that's happening a lot in the world today, is that the strength of the human being that Allah has given him, we don't use because we've been taught, sort of like that elephant, as they said, the example they give of the elephant, as strong as that elephant is, and we know he can push down trees and all of that stuff with his trunk. But because he's trained in a way that he don't use that strength, he just walk around in a circle with a little chain that it wouldn't take no effort too much for him to pull out of the hole. But because he don't use it, he think that he's a slave to that chain. And we shouldn't, we have to really work hard against that as a community of being complacent, because that complacency is another word that I call for death. It's the death of a community when we become placed. And there's great things, like you said, is happening right here under our, as they use the statement, under our feet. And I think a lot of the community is really just not aware. They may know of it, but that's a time, that community, to see what's going, and it makes you proud. As I hear you and Michael and Sharif all saying there, that this is something that if you knew about it, your heart just have to know, you know. So we got to find ways of doing it. And we definitely appreciate, you got me excited just with the few minutes
I
that we
mean, you know,
talked about.
and those of us that have been blessed to actually witness these things, and we can see the potential and the possibilities. You were speaking about opportunities, and the opportunities will knock on our door, but what should answer is preparation. See, so when we're learning this religion of Al-Islam, it is to prepare us to be able to answer the opportunities that we confront with. And so Inkster just becomes a good shining example of that. And then, the New Medina retreat, that's coming up. Next year is going to be historic. It's going to be 40 years. 40 years. And Imam Muhammad was there for the groundbreaking there. So these are places that if you haven't been, get that experience, because I guarantee you'll come back with, if you don't have the inspiration and motivation, but if you do have, you'll have even more to begin to produce. I mean, the work to produce. And Allah tells us in the Quran, in Surah 53, Ayat 39, that the human being can only get what they consciously strive for. And the next ayat said, and soon it would be made manifest. Now, this is not Mark Shaheed saying this, or Brother Henry saying this, Brother Michael saying this, Brother Sharif saying this. This is Allah that is saying this. And Allah's word is true. So why not try it? What God has given us, and is guidance sure, without doubt. So that's what the Quran is all about, and revealing to us, is giving us a guidance and direction and a correction in our life, so that we can establish the community life. And we have the example in the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the prayers and peace be upon him, because he established it in his lifetime. That's very, very important. And this is part of the goal that it is that we have to establish this. And it's going to take effort. Striving is effort. Striving is work, putting forth the work consciously, putting forth the work. It also infers that we have goals, objectives. And Imam Muhammad said, as our leader, when the question was asked many years ago, right here in the city of St. Louis, by students of the Clan Muhammad School, a young student asked Imam Muhammad, "Brother Imam, what is the key to success?" Now, if you around Imam Muhammad, when a young person would ask him a question, a direct question, he wouldn't give him a lot. He would give him a direct answer, and that's what he did for that question. He said the key to success is to always have a strategy, and he didn't say no more. And so we can have these bright ideas, and we can talk about what it is that we should have. We should have this, and we should have that. And you hear that conversation all across the country. We should have this, and we should have that. But if you don't have a strategy, if you're not going to put forth the effort, the work, and have a strategy as to how you're going to get it, you'll never accomplish it. Very, very important. So there has to be a manifestation so we don't look like a spook people. Man, they talk real good talk, but they're not producing anything. And so, Brother Henry, you're absolutely right. Just think about many of us that was blessed to be in the Nation of Islam. In most all your major cities, you had the Shabazz restaurant. You had the Shabazz barbershop, the Shabazz beauty salon, the Shabazz book and record, the Shabazz supermarket, the Shabazz cleaners. We had all that, here. That was a certain type of feeling that you got when you went into business owned by your own people. And the dedication and commitment. No, we didn't have the religion correct. But our commitment and dedication to patronizing our own was there. We would go out of our way to patronize a Muslim who was traveling. No, we going to Shabazz restaurant when we eat. Look how many restaurants we passed up. And if it wasn't a Muslim business, we wanted to make sure that we spent our money with our own people first. This is what all intelligent ethnic group of people do. And they established Chinatown, Germantown, Italian town, or what? So these are some of the things that we have to do to establish the family life, which in essence helps to establish community life and the responsibility that we have in terms of doing that. Nobody's not going to do that for us. And we can't continue to complain about what has happened to us. We have to not forget the past, but the past can't be continuously with the present, and then you are agonizing over what happened instead of being in the present. And as Imam Muhammad said, have control tense. Whereas that you're looking at the future while working in the present. Therefore, we can have a real future. Other than that, we won't. Because that word P-A-S-T, pain again, stops transformation. You never can transform your life as long as you continuously go back to yesteryear. When the past is taken away, the present, and the present is the only time you have an opportunity to make a positive change in your life, individually, family, and also community. This is very, very important. I know we wasn't going down that road, Brother Henry, but you actually said...
I think it's important, Mark, that we take a little time out sometime to go down this road.
Okay.
Because this is a part of it, and it's an important part of it.
Yeah.
The work of this, I've heard conversations about there's no compulsion in religion, and that's true. But when you make a commitment, then you are obligated to do everything you can to live up to that commitment. We had a saying in the first experience, a Muslim word is his bond, and bond is life. I'll give my life before I let my word fail. And we were serious about it. And,
Yes,
and
we
and
were.
so when we made commitments, people could depend on it. So
Yes, yes.
sometimes we got to bring that back to the conscious of the people, that because this is the world you just say anything. We see that at in the leadership in this country. He'll say
Yes.
one thing this week, put it off for 2 weeks. 2 weeks come, you put it off. Then he may tell you he don't even know nothing about it. So commitments and all, and having the word, and having communication, all of these things is what strengthen a community. And I do see we
Yes,
have Brother Michael's hand up
yes.
again, so let's
Let's
bring
go to
him
Brother
in.
Mike.
But
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a well spent hour, even though we hadn't got to the subject. That's going to be another a great subject there that we got
That,
coming up on
that,
Malik. Malik,
yeah, Maliki Yom
that can tie right into this, because I think that's what is being showed now. But
Well, let
inshallah,
me just
we're gonna get to that next week.
let me just say this before you bring Brother Michael in, because you said a mouthful there. There was a little tweaking on that by Imam Muhammad, and I'd like to share this. Just as you said, my word is bond and bond is life. I would give my life before my word should fail. Just as you said, Imam Muhammad also said that we were very, very serious about the commitment of our word, was very serious. He said, but we went a little overboard. And so he was referencing the Quran. And so I just wanted to say this, where Allah says in the Quran, never say what you will do tomorrow without saying inshallah. And the reason that's so very, very important, you don't have to say give your life in terms of that. But we have to understand that the power of will to execute the will is only Allah's will prevails. So whatever it is that we say that we are willing, I'm using that word, willing to do, we have to be true to that in terms of the commitment to that. Because oftentimes it becomes a cliche for some people. You're going to come, you're going to do this, inshallah, okay? But they have no intention of actually doing that. And I'm quite sure some of us have seen this. Generality is never the reality. So I'm not saying that everybody that says, inshallah, that they don't mean it. But you should state what it is that you're willing to do and then say, inshallah, because only Allah's will prevails. And so we don't know until that time comes, that God willing, that we'll be able to do that. And our Christian brothers and sisters used to always say it's the Lord's will. That's comparable to inshallah. But execute the will that God has, and be true to that. And say that. And if it's God's will, I will be there. I will do that. Because only Allah's will prevails. And we hope that whatever it is that we're willing to do is in compliance with God's will. I'll stop there. Brother Michael.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. God's peace.
Alaikum assalam.
God's peace obligates us.
Yes.
The Ramadan session of 2003, there's a brief quote here I have in terms of this. And I'd just like to say we're on the subject because Imam Muhammad has told us about knowledge, the connection of knowledge with knowledge, So we're on the subject. The Imam says, quote, the leader who will educate the people, that is the leader God wants us to have over ourselves. And he wants all people to have that kind of leader over them. A leader who wants to see them educated. The more you permit real education for your people, the more productive that society becomes in many ways. So the unquote, quote unquote. So yes, we're on the subject. There's language in psychology about the locus of control, the inward self-control, or looking at things like the job and family and outside influences controlling us rather than the strength of character and ethics that we're invited by the Quran to establish in our life. And so what Imam Muhammad as a knowledge body presents to us is something that takes the guidance of the Quran. Example, Maliki al-Midin, stated in one sense, the master of the day of judgment, or the sovereign, the king of the day of judgment. Both of those are authorities, and that authority has to be established within the believing man and woman. You know, self, in other words, self-actualization. And I'm using these terms because when we filter them through the Quran, we understand that obedience to what God wants for us, that's what causes us to be healthier and more productive. And I'll stop there.
Very well said, Brother Michael. I mean, because it's going to translate into being a productive people. A matter of fact, just to say something in regards to that, what Imam Muhammad was teaching, us in terms of Maliki Yawmiddin, that everything is going to come to a conclusion, including the human being. So Allah Malik being the sole owner, ruler, master, and judge of the day of judgment and religion. In terms of what is it that we did with being the beneficiary of the most merciful benefactor. In other words, what Allah has given to us, including our own faculties. And so Imam really, drills down in terms of looking at our own creation and even the uniqueness of the human creation, and also the possibility for the human creation, or the potential.
That's right.
Of the creation. It's very, very important. Because many of us come here, you look at those obituaries, they say sunrise, and they say sunset, and there's a dash in between. But that in between actually say that what is it that we did with that in being the most beneficiary out of all the creation. And then when we lose our way, and man will, in terms of human history, we see that, then Allah extends a second mercy to us, Al-Rahim, the most merciful Redeemer. In other words, Allah redeems us or saves us, and He saves us with divine revelation or guidance for our life to bring about the correction in our life, to get us back on the path, the created purpose in which we were created for. So these two mercies, they actually work together, and the Ar-Rahim actually brings us back to a consciousness. So when Adam slipped, and Adam is still slipping today, if we understand Adam, you understand, is we are all descendants of Adam. When you meet with a word, as he met with a word, as the first human beings met with a word from their Lord, they became conscious again. And to your point, Brother Michael Hameen, when you come back, then you understand you can really serve God, but you serve God by working for God. That Iyaka na'budu wa Iyaka nasta'in, in terms of the worship. And the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when they made the hijrah, and some of the Sahabas were trying to get the Prophet to sit down, say, "Oh, you're the Rasulullah. You shouldn't be working as hard as we work. You're the messenger. Please rest." And it was reported that the Prophet said to them, "Work is worship. Work is worship." They wouldn't have been able to build that masjid there in Medina had it not been the dedication, commitment to work. And so this is a part of the feature of the human being to continuously to toil, struggle, and work and be committed and dedicated so that we can have a manifestation, not just, just talk, in that regard. So people should be able to see something from us in terms of how revelation has actually inspired and motivated us to do something, to produce something, make us more productive in that regard. So we can say more in regards to that, but this all ties in because it has to be a realization, a manifestation of what it is that we're learning. We can't just sit on it and just talk about it to each other. We have to put it into practical application to get the realization, manifestation of it. Thank you, Brother Michael.
Yes. We got a few minutes left. I want to give Brother Muhammad Sharif a couple minutes there before we close out. Here, Brother Muhammad.
I just want to ask again, how do we get to hear this recording? I heard, Brother Henry, I heard you say you didn't know how to bring it up, and I don't know how to bring it up. How do we get this recording?
We have the,
hold up, Mark. Let me say something else concerning Easter. Get the Thinker newspaper, and I'll show you a whole lot about what's going on Easter. Get the Thinker newspaper. Thank you.
Yes,
That's the one that come out of New York. That's comes out of New York.
All of New York. Imam Ezekiel Pasha. It's a monthly publication, and there was some. We brought back some newspapers back to the STL here, and was encouraged to take some of the thinkers. And just want to say that Imam Muhammad also endorsed that. That was also said in the convention. He endorsed more than just one newspaper. Some of us don't know that. In other words, you can have multiple newspapers, and you can have a newspaper in your own respective locale in that regard. So, we know about the Muslim Journal, and we should support the Muslim Journal, but also the Thinker newspaper, that's produced there in Harlem, New York, in terms of things that are actually in there. So we can support many different things in different ways if it's no more than just speaking up for it, just like what Muhammad Sharif actually have said. And then to your other point, Muhammad Sharif, I think Sister Manira or Sister Martha Nyla is in the background there. I think that they would be able to say how you can get this in the archives in case you want to go back to listen to it, or you want to refer it to someone else. So if they would graciously come forward, one of them, I think Sister Manira is this position of program manager, or Sister Martha, we know, executive.
Yes, sir. Program manager. And Brother Muhammad Sharif, you can find this broadcast on the YouTube channel, AM 360 Daily Broadcast YouTube channel, and you'll find this broadcast. Inshallah, I'll send you the link to this program on your phone to make it easier for you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. So there you go.
Great.
All you gotta do is
I'm gonna definitely look that up myself, Mark. It look like we're about out of time here, and I think I heard earlier that our brother Adam Beyah will not be with us today.
Yes.
I
have a presentation.
You have
ready
a presentation
to queue up. Yes, sir.
Alhamdulillah. All right, at this time, then we're gonna go ahead and close out. It's great. It's been a great inspiration to me today. Definitely have lifted my spirit. It's a great spirit to get started with, and I look forward to the next broadcast. So at this time, we'll greet you. Assalamu alaikum, and look forward to seeing you next week.
Assalamu alaikum. Amina.
but until they get in, I'm gonna go ahead and I want to read this one ayah of the Quran to begin the day's programming. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. And this is from Surah Al-Baqarah, the 177th ayah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ليس برا أن تولوا وجوهكم قبل المشرق والمغرب ولكن البر من آمن بالله واليوم الأخير والملائكة والكتاب والنبيين وآتى ما له به ذوي القربى واليتامى ومساكين وابن السبيل والسائلين وفي الركاب وأقام الصلاة وأتى الزكاة والموفون بعهدهم إذا عاهدوا والصابرين في البأساء والضراء وحين البأس أولئك الذين صدقوا وأولئك هم المتقون. Sadaqallahu Azim. And the translation with Allah's name, merciful benefactor, merciful redeemer. It is not righteousness that you turn your faces towards east or west, but it is righteousness to believe in Allah, in the last day, in the angels, in the book, and the messengers. The spend of your substance out of love for Him, for your kin, for orphans, for the needy, for the wayfarer, for those who ask, and for the ransom of slaves. To be steadfast in prayer and practice regular charity, to fulfill the contracts which you have made, and to be firm and patient in pain or suffering and adversity, and throughout all periods of panic. Such are the people of truth, the Allah-fearing. Allah speaks the truth, and surely Allah's words are true. Alhamdulillah. As I said today, I invited a couple of guests in. I don't know if they're on now. I don't see their numbers, but I did communicate with them by text last night, so I assume that they would be on. All right, but the topic was education. Education. There was a article in the Muslim Journal, and it was the March 9th through the March 16th edition. Volume 48, number 49, starting on page 11. And the article is about Sister Clara Muhammad School in Milwaukee. And it was written by Sister Patricia Al-Uqta. She's of the Clara Muhammad School National. I forgot the name of the organization. Anyway, if somebody knows it, you can help me.
Alumni?
National Alumni Association. Thank you very much. National Alumni Association. And she wrote, basically it says, the headlines of the article was "Save Our Schools." Says Claire Muhammad, Milwaukee needs our help. So I invited Brother Halim Mahdi, and here's one brother. Are you Fahad, brother?
Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you for coming in, man, brother. Appreciate that, man.
Yes, sir. Alhamdulillah.
I don't want you to think you're alone, so I'll put my image up here also. Well, do you know if Halim is supposed to be coming on?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay, so you're in his stead.
Well, yes and no. First of all, assalamu alaikum to everyone that's on. Mr. Halim Mahdi, he is actually our business manager, our financial manager for our school. He has largely been handling the finances for years for our school. He also served as the school principal for a short period of time in the absence of a former principal, which is his sister, Basima Abdullah, at that time. I serve as the director of education for the facility of the school and the Imam for the masjid here since the resignation of our former Imam, Imam Ronald Shaheed, who I believe is now in North Carolina at this point.
Yeah, he came.
I believe out there with you. Yeah, in North Carolina.
He came to North Carolina. He came down here with the rest of us North Carolinians down here. So,
Alhamdulillah.
Yes, sir. Okay, well, welcome to Monday Sense, my brother. You know, and I do want to say I want to recognize Brother Muhammad Sharif. He's a part of 150, and Muhammad for the last since that article came out, he has never let us forget about the article. He's always mentioning the article. So he's on the line also. And I know you with 150, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And that was the effort that was started. It was started right here on Monday Sense back in March of 2016. We started the effort. And now interest is to, I guess, the headlines of the article, Save Our Schools. So tell us a little bit about what's going on at Claire Muhammad School in Milwaukee.
Yes, sir. First of all, if you would allow me, I want to personally and publicly thank you, Brother Adam Beyah, and everyone who is a part of 150 that has contributed to the multiple schools, Claire Muhammad schools and others that have various names in our educational system, but especially here in the city of Milwaukee, it has significantly helped us. I cannot underscore how much help the program has given for our school here in the city of Milwaukee. And we are grateful and thankful to Allah and to you all for the effort and for helping us here in the city of Milwaukee. Our situation here in the city of Milwaukee, I do want to make a correction, if you would allow me. Yes, because I know in the article it was addressed. Sister Priscilla had mentioned that there were rumors that our school was closing, and that was and is a rumor. And I spoke to a number of people and kind of had to quell that fire down. Our school is not closing. We are not closing. We are still fully functional. We dated school, if that matters, you know, it does in terms of in regards to some things. But we are still at K4 through 12th, K-12 school, if you want to say that. We start at K4. We go to 12th grade. We are still fully functional. Our school is in the same building as our masjid. Pretty much the situation with us at the school is a significant drop in enrollment, and that has caused an issue. And there were multiple factors that contributed to the enrollment situation. Definitely one was the COVID situation that started in 2019, 2020, where people went online for educational purposes. A second thing was, as mentioned in the article, was our transportation program, and we're in the works of trying to make sure that we can get that transportation piece back. But that significantly contributed to our decrease of enrollment. And of course, with everyone who runs a school, we know that once student enrollment decreases, there goes the financial wherewithal, and that is what caused a problem. It was kind of a staggering effect. The other thing that contributed to that, which I think is kind of like the elephant in the room that perhaps some schools may or may not want to talk about, was internal issues and internal conflicts, which pretty much seems to be like the weakening factor for many of our schools and masjids, where you have these internal conflicts, internal issues, and it gave way and gave rise to hurt sensitivities, frustrations, and other things. So part of my job as being the director of education is to really take care of the dire needs that we have. That is enrollment, increasing enrollment. That's primary. Not the top thing, but a primary thing. And enrollment is one. Two is financial support, and any of that financial support could come from programs that like the program that you have headed and others have headed. Small, significant donations, contributions, but grants and other types of monies that we could get for our school. For example, for years we have received grants from a foundation called the Beyah Foundation, which has helped us out a lot here in the city of Milwaukee and others. So that's the second thing. And the third thing is getting that transportation piece back for our school, because once we can do those three things, again, increasing enrollment, more financial stability, and getting that transportation piece back, we can increase our enrollment, get the resources that we need, where we can contribute to building renovations, paying staff members, etc. I cannot underscore that the political climate kind of contributed to a little bit of this as well.
And I did want to ask you about the political climate. What is your forecast, or how is it trickling down with the moves that were made by the current administration to cut the Department of Education? And
right.
You know, in North Carolina, we can see some of the trickle down from Washington to Raleigh, and things that are approved by the state legislatures, which is controlled by the Republican Party. We can see some of the things coming down the pipe. So what is your forecast on how that would affect?
Well, really, at this particular point, like I mentioned, some of the critical pieces that affected us, that largely affected us, was not so much from the political part. However, the fact that we are what you call a voucher school, which is through the choice program, we are tied up into politics in that way, or that effort. But because we are such a small school, we have been able to kind of weather the storm. However, what has happened to a lot of other schools, For example, the public school system, they have lost significant amounts of funding. Because of that, that has affected our title program. We do have a title program where we use a program that actually helps students who have more severe needs in terms of learning. They need extra learning support, and our title support normally came from MPS, Milwaukee Public Schools. But because Milwaukee Public Schools has lost a significant amount of funding over the years, you know, starting from our mayor, our former governor years ago, Scott Walker, that was years ago, and then coming in with Tony Evers and others, our current governor now, the district MPS has gotten funding, but nowhere near how much was cut.
Right.
And so because of that, we have not gotten that support back for our title support. But right now, as we see it, the political climate has kind of left us at less unscathed as other school systems in the city of Milwaukee.
Gotcha. And let's talk about what should be the primary support system for Claremont Muhammad schools, no matter where they are.
Yes.
When we started 150, we did it as a way of supplemental type stuff, you know, come up with monies that could help the schools weather the storm, maintain, or whatever. That was the sole purpose. We never saw ourselves as the primary funding source. Right? Because if we had to be the primary funding source, then our schools would definitely be in trouble. You know, you don't raise that kind of money. But I did. When you look at, you know, as a young boy, I went to Catholic school, right? And in High Point, North Carolina, the diocese wasn't that big, so there's no way that they could raise enough money to operate a school. Period. But in their system, they get funding from all over, right?
Yes.
So it only makes sense that we as Muslims have to see ourselves as part of the major funding sources for our schools, right? No matter where we are. And that was the impetus for starting 150, to be a supplemental funding source. And there's enough Muslims around the country that we can make sure this remaining schools we have, I think we have, not counting Bermuda, we have four full-time schools remaining. When we started, we had 7.
Wow.
That's why I want to get the word out there, that hopefully, if it's a transportation system that you need, I'd like to get back to you offline and come up with a budget, how much it would cost to operate that bus for a year.
Yes.
So we can know how that works. But I wanted to give a chance for the audience at 150 and whoever gets a chance to review this broadcast, to turn them on to know if it ain't but $5 or $10. Don't look at the size of what you get, but the cumulative effect of what we can collect to help the country.
Yes. In any type of you know, we know the statement, all money ain't good money.
Right.
But in this particular case, we do need that financial support. And if it's $5, or if it's $1,000, or if it's $50,000, any contribution is going to be helpful and is much appreciated and much needed. In that article in the newspaper of the Muslim Journal, this fine publication that we have, the Muslim Journal, in the March edition, March 8 through 14, 2025 edition, there is a scan code that is in there, where people can scan, and then they could contribute there and contribute to the school, to our Claire Muhammad school. And we really would much appreciate it. But in addition to the financial support, we need to again increase our enrollment. So that's going to take legwork. That's going to take communication on social media, and really that's going to take man and woman power, getting out into the city, getting out into the communities, reaching out to people, asking and encouraging people in the local area and abroad to enroll their child into the school. But like I said, that financial piece is going to be very much appreciated and needed for the survival of our school. Myself, Mr. Mahdi, and our current principal, Ms. Moss, and our secretary, they have worked tirelessly day and night with the help and support of Sister Basima. She's still giving, she's still supporting, she's still working with us. She's, and we can't underscore the type of impact that she and Imam Ronald Shaheed has had on this school in terms of its physical structure, in terms of its classroom curriculum, etc. But any type of support that we can get in terms of helping us out, in terms of myself, the Director of Education, our administrative team, is very much appreciated. And I'm saying it that way because as much as the financial piece is a big piece, it's a huge piece, we also need that information piece, that anyone who could call and contribute to help us out as well.
Yeah, and that's what we're hoping, brother. Let me also say that all money we raise here should be, we're assuming it's good money.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And you talked about opposition and some of it's internal. And really, that shouldn't be a surprise to anybody on this call.
Mm-hmm.
I doubt that there's a masjid or community unscathed by that, because you get all kind of stuff. You get all kind of news that's shared. I was telling the brother we have a conference call on 158 twice a month, and my brother brought some information that was being attributed to 150. So I just called her what it was. Brother, that's fake news.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's fake news. And it's something that's easily verified. Mm-hmm. We wasted 20 minutes on some fake news. We could have been more productive. And I've heard some about, hey, they're getting government grants. So why are you criticizing government grants? How much money you see? I'm like this. I take it straight to them. How much money you donate? And I found that there's an inverse relationship between money and mouth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The more mouth, the less money. You follow me?
Absolutely. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So we shoot down that kind of stuff that's really designed to create doubt. And we know who whispers and where it's coming from. So we're not worried about that. The reality is that we should have an interest to make sure that your school and other schools that are remaining can stay open.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because they have children in the seats. Our children in the seats that we're preparing for the future. I like on your website how you described global citizen.
You are listening to a rebroadcast of Money Sense. This is a recording for those who have their hands raised. You're listening to a rebroadcast. We will continue the rebroadcast of this program.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I like
yes,
that.
Sir.
And that right there should cause all of us to donate to make sure it happens.
Yes, sir. And
I'm gonna open up the phone lines. If anybody on the line, if you have any comments or questions, please raise your hand and we'll bring you on board. All right, we do have, wow, we got 3. Okay, so we're gonna start with Brother Michael Hameen, then we have Brother Ismail Fahmy and Muhammad Sharif. Brother Michael, go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum.
Making us loud, sir.
Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah, this is a critical issue in terms of support for Islamic education and the identification of Islamic education as leadership and leadership education. There's definitely a deficit in terms of strong moral and ethical leadership in the country, and we need, for the future, going into the future, we need schools that emphasize that.
Mm-hmm.
I thought years ago when Imam invited the businessmen and women to make the Quran their business partner, I saw that in terms of sensitizing the business element of our association to support schools to be institutionalized going into the future. There's always going to be a need for money. The schools don't generate money. They're always going to be in need of that. And it's a challenge for educational institutions all across the country to maintain budgets and maintain budgets while the emphasis is on quality education, a quality product. I know I did a lot of community work in Birmingham, Alabama, and we had problems with the even retired teachers stepping forward to help, because what happened was the focus was on the vendors and teacher salaries, those kinds of focus, rather than the primary focus of the quality educational product. So we really need to have a group, a band that identifies what you're doing, Brother Adam, and the suggestions that you're making, to have that focus for better organization, group organization in terms of the support for education. We've got to have strategies because there's always going to be a need, and there's always going to be a need to get more students, to have more student involvement, more students in the seats, and the finances. And lastly, the internal issues will come because we just so many are socialized against their own best interests, and I'll stop with that.
Hey, brother Mike, you being too nice.
Thank you, brother.
Correct.
Well, we have to negotiate for better behavior.
Yes, sir. You brought up some very critical points here on the ideal of Muslim leadership and making sure that we have business support specifically from our Muslims to help contribute to our schools. That was part of the internal conflicts here in the city of Milwaukee, because we've had a number of business-minded Muslims that were here. Many have passed. Some are still here. That contributed to the school financially, and because of relationships, hurt relationships, or people feeling perhaps lack of respect or lack of acknowledgement, etc., have pulled back from contributing to the school. And that was an issue as well. So when you try to weather that storm, like you were saying, brother, making sure that you get those business men and business women to contribute to the school, it put us in a situation where we had to turn our sights to other sources because we're a small group. As you know, I work with diligently with Brother Bashir Ali here in Peoria as well. And we've always looked at the idea of our group aging and being aging out at the top. And many of our contributors to the school or to the masjid, many of them have passed away. And like I said, adding on to that, some of the Muslim businessmen and women have kind of pulled back support because of those conflicts. So we've had to turn to other sources, like I mentioned, the Bader Foundation, which for some Muslims was an issue. But and it was an issue because it was a Jewish foundation, because it's a Jewish foundation. And so some Muslims had concerns about that. And my position, as well as Sister Basima's position and others, was, again, what are you contributing to the school? And not to downplay anyone's contribution, but $50 is good, $100 is good, but we have employees that we have to pay a livable wage.
Right.
And we have to look at benefits. And these people who are employed at the school have families as well. So we need big money. We have to focus on that material showing as well. And what contributes to that, to my last point, to get back to what you were saying, Brother Hameen, is who is supposed to look at making these strategies. It really should be the school board, if you have a school board for your Clear Muhammad school. And if you don't, develop one. We have a school board, but it needs to be changed and revamped because some people are gone, passed on, and others. So I spoke to Sister Quran a few days ago, and we talked about that very point, and that is making sure that you have a strong school board and making sure that you have multiple people on there who have multiple skills. We can't operate in a situation where we just have Muslims on our school board, but don't have a skill to contribute to the survival of our school. We need parent engagement. We need community engagement. We need people who can go out and actually specialize in getting money. We need someone to make sure that we keep the Islamic content, and really all of us should be responsible for that. But if you're not key on keeping that Islamic content, things will creep in. So you need all of these different elements on your school board to help carry that school forward. So you brought up some very, very good points, brother. I mean, thank you for that.
Yeah. All right, let's go back to the callers, brother Ishmael. You're now, brother.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
Program. Walaikum salam.
A couple of questions or comments. With the school, if someone was to ask what academic innovations the school can hang their hat on, what would be the answer that separates the school from other schools? And secondly, you kind of answered it, having some type of dual enrollment. What have the conversations been about as far as having like an online hybrid where some are online and some are at the physical school, and maybe having a dual enrollment with another school or workforce? What have those conversations been like? Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, brother Sharif. For our school here at Claire Muhammad School in Milwaukee, we actually do utilize, and I'm just going to start with your last point and work backwards. We actually do utilize online schooling and education. In fact, we have one person who teaches some of our courses for some of our high school students online. In fact, more than one that was teaching online. So there are some of our classes that we do have online to give particularly our high school students that option to be able to work with them. So we do utilize online schooling, online education. Now, I know that we do have some other schools as well that are still forming and developing that uses online as well. And we've talked about that as a strategy years ago. So we absolutely utilize that. The piece that really sets us apart from other schools, I'm reflecting on our dear friend. I was going to say my dear friend, but I'm going to say our dear friend because he's been a strong supporter of our Claire Muhammad School, and that is Dr. Howard Fuller here in the city of Milwaukee, who was the former chair for Milwaukee Public Schools years ago, back in the 90s, and actually started his own school as well. But we've talked about this. Why is it that he and others love Claire Muhammad School so much? One, I think people just love the personality of Sister Basima. She has a beautiful personality, okay? But outside of that, back to what you're saying, Brother Sharif, it's the fact that we are a school that has an Islamic content that represents or that it at least conveys discipline and structure. I've been in the public schools here in the city of Milwaukee since 2001. Okay, so we're looking at 24 years, okay, that I've been in the public school system. So I know a little bit about discipline, and I've worked every level. I've worked middle school, high school, and administration in the public schools. So I know that a very, very serious piece is that discipline piece. And when I mean discipline, that could range from verbal assaults. It could range to physical assaults on teachers that I've seen. It could be damage to your physical property. I've seen it all with my own eyes. But when you think of a Claire Muhammad School, you think of structure, you think of discipline, you think of the Islamic content, and we have a lot of parents who may not be Muslim, but still have those sensitivities of having some kind of structure, some kind of discipline, some type of love for their child. The second thing in regards to what sets our school apart is because we are so small, we have a very, very close, loving, caring atmosphere, and parents love that. They absolutely love that. Not having to focus on, is their child going to get thrown into a 15 or a 2,000 population size school and just get drowned out by everything. So that's a very key factor. The academic piece, we've used a number of approaches. We've worked with our academic piece, math. Sometimes we'll use McGraw-Hill textbook materials. We'll use that. We'll do science experiments. We have our Arabic courses. And we also have, I know that there's a team that has been in works of developing a national curriculum for our Claire Muhammad schools. That's been an ongoing process for some years. And we're still waiting for that piece to be developed. And then once it's developed, then secondly, find out are the Claire Muhammad schools that are still existing going to buy into that national curriculum that is developed. But in the meantime, while we're waiting on that, I believe that many of these Claire Muhammad schools have various academic pieces. A very good piece that we have for our Claire Muhammad school was our chess program. Our chess program at the Claire Muhammad School was stellar. Numerous awards. If you are able to visit our Claire Muhammad School here in the city of Milwaukee, we have at least 15 to 20 different trophies on our chess program, and utilizing our middle school and high school students at that level, and so many other things as well. But we do have a very serious and rigorous academic piece as well.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Brother Ishmael. Muhammad Sharif, you're up next, brother.
I'm sorry?
I'm saying Muhammad Sharif is up. Take yourself off mute, brother. Muhammad. You're on mute, Muhammad. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you can put your picture back up. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, but I can hear you. You're good.
Okay, good. Okay, my main question, I guess, was, yes, brother, that was Fahmy Ishmael Fahmy that was speaking to you before. I'm Muhammad Sharif, Brother Muhammad.
Okay.
My apologies. Thank you, sir.
Okay, you're welcome. So I guess my question was concerning the transportation. Now we know wherever we are, we see all these school buses, yellow buses, taking the children to school and bring them back home after school. Now, what can we do to help with that part to help the transportation? Because that's very vital.
Yes, if that's the question, what can we do? Well, it's a couple of different things here. One, we could get a transportation van, which is what we had here at one point in time here in the city of Milwaukee, at our Claire Muhammad School here. We could get a transportation van. We could find someone to drive the van. I don't think you need any CDLs. I think everyone knows what CDLs are. I don't think you need any CDLs to drive a transportation van. It's just a matter of getting a van, purchasing it, which requires money. Secondly, paying someone to drive it. If they could drive that van 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours in the evening, 2 hours in the morning to pick students up, 2 hours in the evening to drop them off. And then that would be a good thing. What we need, one is that van, two is steady income to pay that person to drive the van. Or two, we could take the second route and use school buses, which we've also had at our Claire Muhammad School in the city of Milwaukee. That piece, if you do that, now you're not doing it internally, like having a transportation van and just getting someone to drive it. When you're doing a bus system, you're contracting with a third entity who also uses buses for other schools, other charter schools throughout the city of Milwaukee, other public schools throughout the city of Milwaukee. And that is very, very costly. That piece is very, very costly. Costly because gas has increased, skyrocketed. A bus insurance has skyrocketed. And because all of those things have skyrocketed because of COVID and so many other things, the fees that these bus companies charge us have also skyrocketed. So the bottom line for both of these, I would say, is one, the effort of reaching out and making that happen. Two, the financial piece.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much. But how do we pronounce your first name, Brother Muhammad?
First name is Bramouse, Bramouse. Most people that are here in the city of Milwaukee know me as Fahad. That's my middle name. So you may see Imam BF Muhammad. That's Imam Bramouse. That's my first name. And Fahad is the middle name. And then Muhammad is my last name. So Imam BF Muhammad, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you for coming on to the program this morning and giving us so much needed information. I guess my main concern is how I guess we have to go into some type of communications as to how we can get this van and the driver. I know it's going to be quite expensive. But I know every time I see a school bus in the city, all over, we see all these school buses and we don't have any. So we got to at least get one that can take and bring our children back to school, home in the evening.
Yes. I could give out our school address. We also do have our Claire Muhammad School website. I can give that out as well. Our address at Claire Muhammad School here in Milwaukee is 317 West Wright Street. That's WRIGHT, Wright Street. That's Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And you know what? Let me get our zip code here. Give me just a moment here. Our zip code is 53212. 53212. So again, that's 317 West Wright Street, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 53212. Our school's telephone number is 414-263-6772. 414-263-6772. And I can also give out my telephone number as well. It's 414-429-4786. That's my personal cell number. And anyone who has any questions, they can call to the school and speak to our school principal, or they can call me and speak to me as the director of education, or you can go to the website, which is, let me just get that website address here, is CMS.
Could you repeat your number again, please? Could you repeat your number again, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat, possibly.
Yep. I can do just that. I can put it in the chat here.
I won't see it. I won't see it. I won't see it in the chat. Could you?
Yes, ma'am. I'll give it to you right now again. 414.
Okay.
429.
Yes.
4786.
Thank you.
And I'll also put it in the chat as well.
And thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
All right, Brother Michael, you have your hands up?
Yes, sir. in education and the other areas of institutional, foundational community building, being better organized. When you've gone from 7 to 4 schools, it's time to circle the wagons, you know, and it's really necessary to have the group Shura Bainahum and collaboration. What's necessary to not only to survive, but strategies for excuse me, strategies for thriving, you know. And so you've got the Atlanta school. You know, it's time to consult with those and perhaps even those schools that are maybe charter. That you know, you mentioned the gentleman that was head of the I think school board, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, you know, forming alliances is necessary, and identifying through that group of alliances, internal as well as external, what is necessary. Grant writers and other strategies. But again, you know, you hit it. Your school board has to have individuals, as I'm seeing it, have to have individuals with the skill sets that are going to help you to survive and thrive. So I just wanted to offer that. You know, we got to put our heads together. We're not getting enough out of ourselves, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Michael.
Absolutely.
That's true. Absolutely.
All right. Muhammad, is your hand back up or you never put it down? Muhammad Sharif. Muhammad Sharif, you're on mute, brother. I guess. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
I can.
Okay, good. Well, I'm very, very impressed in the Muslim journals, right under the article about the Clark Muhammad School, Milwaukee, and other issues also. We see these young brothers with the Muslim Journal newspaper. They are reading, look like they're all probably under 10 years old, reading the Muslim Journal. And right under that, there's a group at a table studying the Muslim Journal. So my question is, talking to all of, if your children, your grandchildren, great-grandchildren, are not seeing this Muslim Journal coming into their home, then those that don't see this paper have no idea what these young people are exposed to already, the Muslim Journal newspaper. So where are your children, our great-grandchildren, going to land up if they have no idea what these that's being involved with and reading the Muslim Journal? They're going to be out of it.
That's a great question, Muhammad. Great question. And that's something that has to be asked all over the country. I went on and renewed my subscription to Muslim Journal online. And they got all kind of back issues and things of that nature. They, you know, and I encourage everybody to go online and subscribe to the Muslim Journal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right.
I agree as well. I just looked at my email this morning, and they automatically renewed my subscription for the year. So I'll get mine, and I looked at that, and you know, I'm at a critical point financially as well. So when that resubscription hit, I looked, I said, oh man, you know, but it is in and done. Praise be to Allah. You are correct. So, you know, we all do need to have, you know, it's our publication. You know, I know that there are certain people who run it and operate it, but and we may have some likes or dislikes about the Muslim Journal. but it don't matter. It's ours. It's our publication. So we have to support it. We have to support it. And we do have a subscription for our school. And members who come do have their own subscriptions. I have my own personal subscription as well. And we've worked, and I'm saying we because I've worked with others who've worked with the Muslim Journal to tirelessly support our publication to get news out about our leader, our Imam Warathuddin Muhammad, his mind, his vision, his thinking for us to go forward in this country, and the issues that pertain to not only this community, but to us here in the United States of America.
Exactly. And that's why this vehicle maintained and started by the Community-Wide Shura Conference, American Muslim 360, where we can get news from ourselves. Now, someone was saying about Bilali, that was in the previous program. And if you just we call ourselves Bilali. So I was on, I think it was Facebook, and one brother Muslim mentioned the word Bilali. The more I read it, I said, he's not even in our association. Which is not a problem because we use it Bilali. I wonder where he got that from.
Yeah, we know where he got it from. And I mean, I was just speaking to another brother before who I think another brother that I work with as well, brother Hamim from Canada. We were talking about the pastor out of south side of Chicago here years ago, Christian pastor T.L. Bartlett, who was talking about him being a Bilali. Years ago he used that term, but we know that our Imam has influenced many of these people, in terms of language and vision, etc. Yeah. Imam Muhammad, he's our Imam. He's from us, but he was for the world.
He was definitely got more respect in other parts of the world than he did at home.
Imam Adam. Yes. A final comment. In terms of promotion, again, I'll mention we have a deficit in terms of ethical and moral leadership. So highlighting that in terms of the school curriculum, as well as history, an all-inclusive history, and a particular history of those contributions and voices that have been kept out of the history. We were told by Imam Muhammad to go back into our past and bring forward the excellence, bring forward that will help us today and going on into the future. As an example, you can Google the Color Convention Project. The Color Convention Project, it went on for over 50 years out of a circumstance where in Cincinnati, Ohio, African Americans were driven out of their homes with a white supremacist.
Assalamu alaikum.
We see you and hear you loud and clear.
I was listening to Brother Michael talking, and it cut Imam Adams.
We had to cut it short, Imam.
Oh, okay. Well, you could have finished your thought. But
it was a tape. It was a tape. It was a recording.
Oh yeah, I figured that out.
Okay.
I wonder why I went so. All right, who's been recommendation? This one up there, Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. That is with God's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer. Peace be unto you. We'd like to welcome everyone to New Day File Islam in America, American Muslim 360 edition, the number one Islamic radio station in the nation. And my name is Yusuf Ramadan, and this is the program that deals with current events, trending topics, and issues of concern from the Muslim perspective. And as we always say, the Muslim perspective is and always should be the human perspective. Alhamdulillah, we are human beings. And very important that we keep that in mind. Very important that we keep that in mind. And what it means to be human. You know, the more you read the Quran, the more you live the Quran, the more you will appreciate what a miracle it is. You know, I've heard them mentioning, well, I've heard Christians asking, well, what miracles did Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, what miracles did he perform? If he's supposed to be so great, how come he didn't perform miracles like Jesus, you know? And even some Muslims will try to compete and mention the miracles, you know, that they say are miracles. But the number one miracle, the most important miracle, is the Quran. That he came forth with the Quran, that the Quran was revealed to him. He's not the author of the Quran, you know. Non-Muslims will refer to Muhammad the Prophet as, or refer to our way of life as Mohammedanism. Mohammedanism, you know. Um, but Aisha, his wife, the lady Aisha, radiallahu anha, she said that he was, if you want to know him, he was the Quran, walking, you know. And someone sent me something, you know, people, the list is getting longer and longer, but I get these, uh, you know, reminders every day um, from different people. And the list is really getting long, and they want you to respond to it. You know, sometimes I can't, I just can't. You know, it gets to be too much, or I'm too busy, or whatever. I don't think about it till later on. You know, but sometimes they're very interesting. You know, and one young brother, good young brother that I know, he sent me something that was very nice. Uh, I appreciate it very much. It says, the Quran in you. Don't tell people how much of the Quran you've memorized. Let them see the Quran in your actions. Feed the hungry, clothe the needy, be merciful to the orphans, forgive those who've mistreated you, and be good to your parents. It isn't about how far you've reached in the Quran, but how far the Quran has reached in you. And I think that's so important. I think those are very wise words, you know. We should live our lives in such a way that people will say, wow, what is it that motivates you? Why are you this particular way? You know, why are you the way that you, why are, oh, what happened to my screen? Oh, why are you, uh, you know, the detractors of Al Islam try to say still that the Quran was forced, particularly upon the Africans or Africa. It was forced on them uh, through threat of death by the sword, spread by the sword. And Imam Muhammad, rahimahullah alayhi, he said, well, how come they still got it now? Nobody's forcing anything on them. Over 50% of Africa is Muslim. You don't think about that. And the most populous Muslim country in the world is Indonesia. not Saudi Arabia, for those Pan-Africanists that try to tell us, oh, it's not for you, this is not for the black man. They're forcing it upon you, you know. And there was never any conflict there in Indonesia where the Muslims were forcing al-Islam on the population. Malaysia in the same area. Huh? So their narrative doesn't hold up. But what we see in our own politics today, that we live in day to day, just watching the news. Last week is already history. It's already history, right? They want to turn it into history. And they want to tell you what's going on. So if you want to know how history is distorted, all you have to do is look at Gaza with people telling you to your face. That's no genocide. What genocide? Ain't nobody starving over there. It's happening in real time. And we have the another modern invention, or the miracle of modern technology, which is the cell phone and the camera that's right in everybody's hand. Children have them. And you're not to believe your lying eyes. So if that's not enough to convince you right there that history is distorted, they want to explain to you what happened during the Civil War, what happened during a transatlantic slave trade. They're going back trying to change it. You know, Trump is trying to remove Jackie Robinson from the history books. Huh? Medgar Evers. That just happened yesterday. That just happened yesterday. In the scheme of things for what we call history during the civil rights movement. They want to tell you what that was all about, you see? And I saw a video, I might have sent it to some of y'all, but I thought it was a very brilliant video talking about the imposter Paul that calls himself, his real name is Saul. And he calls himself Paul. He changed his name to Paul. And he claimed, I don't know if he had killed Christians, but he had certainly tortured and made their life miserable, and was a torturer of the so-called Christians at that time, right? And the brother said, imagine if the people who had killed Martin Luther King, Klansmen that were against him and against his followers, imagine if they had said that he came to them in a dream after he was dead, that he came to them in a dream and said, why are you persecuting me? And the light turned on, and he became the #1 purveyor of the message of Dr. Martin Luther King. And people turn to him now to find out what Dr. Martin Luther King was all about. And they quoted him instead of quoting Dr. King. They quoted, you see the same, do you see the relationship? It's ridiculous. It's absurd. And he represents the same people that are telling you what's happening and what happened then. But he has the people captured. And Imam Muhammad said, I can't blame the people here in America totally for what they're doing, because they were captured at the beginning of the country. They've been redirected. Huh? They've been debriefed. They've been given an image of the Lord and Savior in the image of someone else. Huh? And the message that's given to them, it's been taken from them. The message of, and we know that's true. We don't have to be historians, because we know that Allah says they neither killed him nor crucified him, but it was made to appear to them. They neither killed him nor crucified him. And that was way before 1776, wasn't it? So they same people, you see how something can happen and they can put their spin on it and tell you what's going on and fight with you. The people who now he according to history, Paul, so-called apostle, and remember now, here's his Ku Klux Klan member. He's calling himself, he's a follower of Dr. King. Never met him, never walked with him, but he's the #1 expert on Dr. King, and everybody just accepts that. Would you explain Dr. King to us? You see how absurd and ridiculous that is? But that's where they got the world. That's where they have the world. And they refuse to allow you to think for yourself because they put a stigma on you. They put a stigma on you that certain things are off the table. Even World War II. Oh, he's a Holocaust denier. Huh? That if you don't start the conversation with saying, this it definitely happened, just like that, you have no credibility. Even if you ask the question, how could it have been 6 million and it wasn't that many of y'all in Germany, in Europe, period? Impossible. Holocaust denier, anti-Semites. But were you all in Germany Semites? Or were you Eastern Europeans? Ah, now the fog is beginning to lift off the minds of the people. And you're beginning to see things clearly. I remember when I was a young teenager and I was in Catholic school, and I'm trying to remember the Pope, whatever Pope was at the time, I'll look it up. And he gave his encyclical, and he was talking about one of the scourges that we have to get rid of is anti-Semitism. Well, I didn't even know what the hell that was. I'm a black kid. What are you talking about? What anti-Semitism? And they started drilling that into us. We got to stop doing that. Oh, we got to stop doing that. And they tell us this is the oldest prejudice on the planet. That's the first prejudice was on the planet, anti-Semitism. Huh? And that we are being discriminated against. We discriminated against just like you. And we fought with you side by side. And the Imam said, wasn't that many of them? It wasn't that, who? Cheney, Schwerner, and Goodman. Huh? Cheney was black. The other two were so-called Jews. Okay? So the people have had a lock. And now they're arguing. And what we're doing, we're arguing to no, don't you change the museum. Don't you change the history book as if the one they gave us is pure and pristine. The one you got already is already distorted. And you fighting. Keep it like it is. Don't change it. Oh, we got to change it. We have to change it. Just not change it to the thing they're talking about. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when we look at this thing, and sometimes if we can't figure it out. You know, my grandson is only 9 years old, but he's already asking, how come we can't see Allah? Why can't we see Allah? And, you know, when we explain things to people, you know, they have a thing now that says, I don't understand Bitcoin or whatever the subject is, right? Um, uh, cryptocurrency or stock market, and they say stock market for dummies. They have a whole series. They even have a book called Islam for Dummies. Islam for Dummies, right? And another way they put it is explain it to me like I'm a fifth grader. Explain cancer or this medical condition to me like I've been a fifth grader, like I don't know nothing. So we have to realize that when we explain things to people, I can't explain Al Islam to my grandson the way I would explain to a grown person that asked me that. How come we can't see Allah? I have to give it to him. It's about, uh, uh, what's the brother's name? Uh, oh, yes, our beloved brother, Imam Dr. Nasser Ahmed, and he is one of our greatest imams and teachers, uh, uh, especially teaching us the language and the logic of Imam Warthi Muhammad. And he was talking about, he was walking with his grandson, and his grandson was saying, Granddaddy, why is the sun following me? So people would say, what the sun? He said, it is following me, it is. And it's about perception. Perception. Children have a different perception than we do. That's why when they're talking about early childhood training, when children are 2 and 3 and 4 years old and they're down low, they tell the teachers that they should get down on their level, physically get down on their knees and get, eye level with them, talk to them. You want to talk to people, as our Christian brothers and sisters say, you have to meet them where they are. So you have to meet them where they are. You don't give them concepts of Al-Islam that would just blow their mind. You want to take them as Allah does for us. And, I heard the Imam say this one time, and I see Brother Sharif is on here, and I'm sure he heard him. He said, be kind to your family. The Imam said, when teaching them about the religion, be kind to your family. Aren't I kind to you? Yes. In other words, if I was to tell people just the way I'm telling you, because you are uh, uh, you are my brothers and sisters in this work, and you've been in the class. You are students of Imam W.D. Muhammad. But if I was to explain this to other people, well, like I'm explaining to you, they might get offended. They might get offended, and they would come to you all know me, so they would say, I knew he was an anti-Semite. I know that he hated Christians. Well, I'm not expressing any hate for Christians. I'm just giving you, because you all were in the class with me too. See, this is one big 30-year class we've been in with Imam W.D. Muhammad. We're in this class. We're in the class. Huh? And some of us are graduate students. Huh? But when we even introducing the language to other people, that's why they get put off, because they figure, oh, if you was a Muslim, you wouldn't say that. So the Imam has taught us certain principles, to look at the symbology of things. When they talk about the angels coming down and opening up the chest of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and washing his heart and making it clean and pure, and then sewing him back up. There's Muslims that believe that and take that literally. And if you don't, they don't like you no more, because you're a weak Muslim. If you was a real Muslim, you would believe that in order to get his heart pure, the angels had to rip his chest open, cut it open like a doctor would cut yours if you were getting heart surgery, and take a washcloth and soap and wash the heart, the physical heart, and then sew it back up. To those of us that are in the graduating class, it's ridiculous. But if you said that to them, they'd be offended. And my question to them when they say things like that is, For the sake of argument, let's say that that's true. Literally true. What good is that for me and you? They would say, that proves that he's the prophet. You ain't got to prove it to me. I already know it. That proves it. And he was illiterate. He couldn't read and write. That's another miracle. How could he come with the Quran if he couldn't read and write? The Imam said he could read and write. He could read and write. That disqualifies Imam Muhammad with them right then and there. They don't want to hear nothing else from him. Huh? He said he was running her business and doing contracts. Illiterate, and then when I started doing some research, because I accepted it just on the basis of that's my Imam and I trust him. But I started doing more research into the language. And illiterate, you're using, that's English. But ummi is from the word which means mother. Ummi means my mother. Huh? Abu means father. Abi means my father. So when you're dealing with cases in Arabic, it's showing possession. But when you start going into the deeper you go into your study, I said, woo! My man was on this, it was on it like on it. I mean, look, that's why they couldn't challenge him. That's why they couldn't. The Imam said, how come they don't challenge me? How come they don't embarrass me internationally? Because they can't. He said, do you think I would come before you and not be prepared? Huh? You think I would come before you and not be prepared? Brothers and sisters, we have been so blessed. We have been so blessed because I look at some of the ways that they teach this religion, and I say, if I was introduced to Islam that way, and the Imam taught us al-Islam, and nobody else taught us that. Nobody else. And when you read the Quran, it's always predicated by the definite article al, the Islam. Always. Never, ever, never in the Quran, just Islam. Huh? And if I was introduced to Islam, al-Islam, the way they teach me, I would never be a Muslim. Because I would say, that don't make no damn sense. That's what one of the things took me away from Christianity. I began to use my noodle and say, I want to believe, but the Trinity don't make no sense. And the Imam taught us, take the logic to its conclusion. And I had a brother, good brother, he passed away, but he wasn't a student of Imam W.D. Muhammad. And he told me to my face, logic ain't got nothing to do with it. So what he's saying is that he has what they call in Arabic taqlid, blind following. Blind following. And in fact, he thinks that's good. That's what makes you a Muslim. That you hear it, you don't know nothing, it don't make sense to you, you can't, but you do it anyway. And that's why they have these rites and rituals. They put your right foot in the masjid first, then you left. They're not looking to see what that means. That James Brown told us to do it on the good foot. The right foot is the good foot. Don't come in with bad intentions. Come in with good intentions. No, they don't say that. Put your left foot, put your right shoe on first, and then your left shoe. Always start with your right. They take it so literally that the Imam explained to us that in those rituals and rites is given to us to safeguard the knowledge. That when you begin to look into it, then you see the knowledge that is in there. Other than that, you'll say, well, why do Muslims, Allahu Alam, Allah knows best. I say, I already know that Allah knows best, but do you know anything? I'm asking you a question. Allah knows best. That's all they can say. Allah knows best. I know, but aren't you supposed to know a little something? Of course, Allah knows best. So I'm looking at, and I want to get into. I see Brother Michael's hand up. I don't know if that's from before, but I'll take his question down before I go further into the topic.
Assalamu alaikum, Imam, Yusuf.
Walaikum assalam.
Thank you. And to the listeners, the greetings of peace as well. I first raised my hand where you shared this idea of the embodiment of the Quran in individuals, whereby some people would never come in contact with the physical book, the Quran. Right. I had a Christian neighbor who shared that same idea with me in terms of the Holy Bible, that there's some people that would never come in contact, particularly nowadays, where formal religion is not considered something that's attractive, particularly among young people. But in this environment, we have to let the people know that Al-Islam is not formal religion. It's a way of life that it's called religion, but it's actually the life.
That's right.
And the way it's presented, the miracle of the Quran breaking through all of the retarding factors in the social life that dumb people down. Like you mentioned that fifth grader idea. It's actually, I looked up the word dummies, and I'm not going to give the definition. Anyone that has an interest, they can look up the word dummy and see the various meanings to that word. And we need to be clearer, because oftentimes, what's the word I'm looking for? When you make something so general that you don't really see the logical connections of it. It's a word for it that skips my mind right now. But generalities, have their place. Yeah. But what they call being specific is very necessary, particularly now, because most people are speaking, particularly the common men and women, but you also hear the ignorance in some of the leaders in the society. They speak emotionally. They don't speak from a foundation of reasoning and logic. And that's one of the miracles of the Quran, the way it logically presents, where the everyday man and woman can understand. And it's so medicinal in that regard. It's a medicine for the times. Let me put it that way.
That's right.
I'll stop there. Thank you.
That's right. Allahu Akbar. If you really study the Quran, its format that Allah gives us, doesn't Allah ask us questions in order to bring us along from one? The Imam explained to us, he's the Rabbi al-Alameen. He is the guardian evolver, taking us one stage to the next. And as I said, the more we read the Quran and appreciate it, it says, you will not be able to guide all of those whom you love. And that's a hurtful thing. That can be very hurtful. People that you love, that you want to see do better, that you want to see come out of their distress. And you know that if they just follow this formula, they would get relief. They would get relief. When I worked as a hospital chaplain, I visited a few people, more than one, definitely more than one, that expressed the same sentiment. They said to me, I have AIDS. Would different hospitals I worked in. But one of the hospitals was when I worked for the Department of Corrections, they had assigned me to a hospital, also a hospital in Manhattan, that was a terminal ward. Everybody in there was dying. And one person said to me that they had AIDS and cancer, and that they had used drugs all their life. And his reasoning was, it don't make no sense for me to stop now. I might as well keep on using drugs, you know. And another brother I visited, he happened to be in a different hospital um, that I was working at, and he was a friend of mine. And he said, "You know, Yusuf, you're my best friend. You know," he said, "I just wanted to tell you that I'm dying." And I said, "Wow." I said, "Well, me too." He said, "No, no, I'm serious. I'm serious. I'm not playing. I'm dying." And I said, "Me too." And he said, "Come on, man, you playing around." I said, "I'm not playing around." Well, that was over 20 years ago. He's still living. He's still living, and I don't know what his hell. I haven't seen him lately, you know. But what I was trying to say to him is, you know, uh, all of us are returning to Allah. We don't know when that's going to happen. Somebody, we heard of people that nothing was wrong with them, or we didn't know anything about Malcolm Jamal Warner. He was a young man, 50 something years old, drowned. They didn't say he had a terminal illness or whatever. So it was people that came to his funeral, I'm sure, that was in worse medical shape than him. And so my point to him and to the other brother, the first person, I said, look at Magic Johnson. How many, well, that's over 25 years ago that he had the most famous AIDS case, right? In the public eye, Magic Johnson. And he looked big, strong, and healthy. Everybody remember when AIDS was a death sentence? Oh man, they got AIDS, man. They on their way out. This man has made billions of dollars, and I said the difference is the quality of your life in the time that you got here. That Allah gives us. We don't know how much time Allah given us. But what we do know is that we have to have quality in that period of time over quantity. You want to live to be 100 years old and just be drugged out and messed up and of no use to yourself and your family? No, it's the quality of your life. So don't say because I'm going to die, I'm just going to keep on messing up the little bit of life that I got left. That don't make no sense. So Allah asks us questions in the Quran. He said, and which one makes sense? One or two? One God or two gods? So isn't Allah respecting our akal? He's Allah himself is showing me, look, I created your akal. I created your reasoning. And now I want you to give, I'm respecting it. I want you to give some respect to it. Look, the brothers and sisters during in the Nation of Islam today, 2025, we're gods. All of us is a God. And I say, God, oh my God. Tell me how that's helpful. Tell me how that helps people. And the Imam talked about, he said a brother walked in, he was working as a in the restaurant, and the brother walked in there and said out loud, come and serve the black God. And the Imam said that kind of irritated him. You know what I mean? He said he was a big, strong brother too. I know he could have crushed me with one hand. And I straightened him out. You ain't no God. And the sisters always knew better. Our wives that are at home with us, they know you. They see you in your weakness. They know doggone well you ain't no black God. So of what benefit is that language? They would say, oh, that's great benefit. That's standing me up. I'm not a nigger, I'm a God. No, but the Imam said that white supremacy hurt white folks worse than it hurt us. Oh, I don't know about that. We was getting hung and castrated and so and so. But the Imam said, in the sense that once the reality comes and you realize, hey, I'm not inferior, that builds you up. But when you've been taught that you're superior and you realize now you've been brought into reality, you ain't superior, that brings you down in your thinking. Huh? You thought you was up here. My father told me when I was a young boy, you know, he was a very, very intelligent man. He said, when you show a white man that you're smarter than him, now he sees y'all as equal. I'm showing him that I know more about this than he do. Rather than him seeing me up here, he sees me down here on the same footing with him. You know, so this is what the racism and things do. You have a inflated view of yourself, and you ain't all that. You're human like everybody else. You're just human, and that's not a put down. The Imam said that's not a put down. No, when you realize what it means to be human, that will build you up. Live up to your human potential. Huh? Your human potential is great. And he applied it to the same thing with Isa ibn Maryam, with Jesus the Christ. The Christians think, oh, you deflated Jesus. We had him all the way up here. No, but you had him up where he didn't belong. That he's God or Son of God. And he said, what did the Christians say? That he was crucified, died, and was buried. And on the third day he rose. And now he sits at the right hand of the Father. The Imam said, the right hand is the strong hand. Now you making him in the person of Jesus stronger than the Father that you say sent him in the first place. You got to clear that up. Those people that Brother Michael is talking about, people in positions of authority, people that command billions of dollars and millions of people, they got that same mentality. Their mind is messed up. That somebody died for their sins. So when they think that that's noble. Oh, you died for my sins. So that's why they don't mind killing other people and sacrificing people. Oh, that's a noble thing. Huh? Oh, this psychology is deep. So we're looking at the media. Now here they are screaming about Jeffrey Epstein. I don't say they shouldn't do it. But like I said when I first started out, how they distort history. Oh, this is what happened, and they ain't telling you the truth. But yet, and Trump said the other day, he's been dead a long time. Now that's a lie. He has not been dead a long time. In other words, what he's saying is he's been dead so long. Let's don't even talk about that no more. No. But just the other day, the cyber chief for Israel was arrested in Las Vegas for contacting who he thought was a 15-year-old girl. He got arrested with a bunch of guys, or a few of them. He wasn't the only one. They gave him a bail, a $10,000 bail, didn't take his passport and let him go back to Israel. Why we ain't talking about that? You ain't got to go all the way back to Epstein. Let's talk about that. The State Department, because this was a state case, somebody had to intervene. Now the district attorney that let him go is a woman who's an Israeli. Did you know that? That you could have an Israeli, she's your attorney general? Now these people are threatening us. with arrest, with prison. Your religion is coming down to the point where you're going to either have to get down or lay down. They're making it that cold. Now, if you're telling me that a man that's abusing a child can be let go and sent back to Israel, but you say it's not your business because you black, I ain't got nothing to do with Gaza. Well, what if it was your daughter? Huh? Now what? You gonna let them be chosen people, and they get a chance to abuse your children, your daughter, or your son, and you say, well, what you gonna do about it? There's nothing I can do. What you mean there's nothing you can do? Prophet Muhammad sallallahu said, if you can't change with your hand, at least speak out on them. You don't have that much courage either? You won't even say nothing? Well, damn, you might as well lay down and let them close the casket on you, man. I mean, have we fallen that far? That we so afraid of people that we will let them do whatever they want to do? And I'm just as mad about them doing it to your child as they are to mine. What am I supposed to? Well, that's not my child, you know. And I don't care whether they're Muslim or not. I'm outraged by it. And this man is he's already become a dictator. Not in the sense that, I mean, he's snatching people off the street. He's snatching people off the street. Oh, but that's what you said. But where's the proof? The reason why we snatched, that's what you said. But you didn't let me finish. I don't want you to finish because the person didn't have no due process. You said he was a criminal. You said he was a illegal. You said we got to take, that's a dictator. We got to take your word for it. And then I don't know who you are because you got a mask on and you don't have on no uniform. That's not a dictator? Well, you tell me what is. Oh, that's the law. Damn the law. The law one time said that we didn't have no rights. An unjust law is no law at all. Huh? That's not where we're going. That's where we are. That's where we are in 21st century America, brothers and sisters. They can snatch you up off the street. And now they talking about sending one brother to Uganda. Now we heard of being deported. You deport me back to my country. Now you deport me anywhere you want. That's not a dictator. What it'll do until a real dictator gets here. This is the place that we at now. And my cousin told me when he said, well, you're an old man now, there's nothing you can do about it. Well, let me tell you something. I can talk about it, and I'm definitely going to talk about it. And this man is such a dictator, he's suing people for millions of dollars for saying things that he don't like. And winning. Some of the people have not fight. Hey, go on and give them the $16 million, you know. Because these people got money. They don't have no courage either. Some people say, well, if I had a lot of money, boy, I'd be fighting. No, you wouldn't. Because you'd be doing the same thing that they doing. Well, I'm going to hold on to, I'm living a good life. I don't want, man, you know, I'm comfortable. I got a nice home, and nice car, you know. I can go on vacation. Man, I don't want to stir up no trouble. But meanwhile, trouble is stirring you up. I can't face my Lord like that. I don't know about you. First thing, I can't face myself that way. I can't look at myself in the mirror. I can't look at my children and my grandchildren and have them say, well, you know, what could he do? He's an old man. No, we have to show them. We have to stand up for what's right. We have to enjoin what's right and forbid what's wrong. as a Muslim. It didn't say, well, once you reach a certain age, you're exempt from that. And I'll tell you, when I look in the mirror, I see an old man, but when I look in my heart, I'm 25 years old. And I feel strong, you know? So alhamdulillah, these are some of the things that we took. And the media don't even mention that case. The sister came on the show that I watched, Abby Phillips' show, and she mentioned it, and no, they didn't say a mumbling word. Nobody even said, that didn't happen. You lying. They didn't say a word. She said they just arrested the head of the cyber security for Israel in Las Vegas for contacting a child, and they let him go. And guess what? You could cricket. You could. It's like she never said nothing. Nobody addressed it. Said, "Oh, I didn't hear about it." They didn't say nothing. Sure, they heard about it. They're afraid. They're afraid. Well, I'm not going out like that. I can't go out like that. I'm sorry. I ain't never been that afraid. My mother told me my mouth was gonna get me in trouble. I guess she knew what she was talking about. Boy, you got a big mouth. You gonna get yourself in trouble. Well, I put my trust in Allah. I put my trust in Allah. And to be honest with you, look, if I was a younger man, I would get on one of them flotillas and bring some aid over there to the people in Gaza. I'm embarrassed that I'm not on there. Well, they ain't gonna stop you. Well, then they just have to stop me. People are going over there, and now they're putting together a bit. Even John McCain's wife is speaking about it. You see, she's talking about Cindy McCain. She's a very wealthy woman. She sent food. She's talking about it. And these people are so-called Christians. They are a bunch of phonies. The so-called evangelical Christians. They're scared to death too. Wouldn't say a word. Huh? Family value. Where's the family values? Here's them young girl. They just had a press conference yesterday. And this man is standing up there calling it a hoax. Well, if it's a hoax, then that's what Maxwell said. Let me out of jail. What I'm doing in jail. If the president of the United States saying it's a hoax, I'm convicted for trafficking. I should be free. They're playing in your face. They're playing right down faces, brothers and sisters. And somebody got to have some courage to speak out. This don't make no sense. No, I can't change it with my hand. I can't come over there and force them to open up the gate and let some food in there. But damn, some of y'all don't even hate it in your heart. That's unbelievable. That you can see a genocide taking place right on television all day, every day. And these are Muslims they're doing it to. Well, you know, they're anti-black, brother. They don't. You're just a coward. You find every excuse not to stand. Brother Muhammad Sharif, I see your hand is up. Go ahead, brother. You know I'll run my mouth until the clock is gone. Go ahead, Sharif. You got to all right, unmute you. Unless is your hand up? You got to unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
yes,
sir.
I can. Yes.
You know, we heard the Imam said. He said by the sisters. So you know we got sisters in every masjid. So I'm bringing it back to the Muslims. Imam said got sisters in every masjid. And I said, who you gonna follow near the sisters?
Did you say sisters?
Sisters. S-I-S-S-I-E. Sisters.
Sister. Yeah, yes. That's right.
You got sisters in every masjid. And we
Sure
know,
do.
and we know who they are too. They won't say nothing about nothing.
Yeah. It's embarrassing.
Embarrassing.
It really is.
Look like they chose us to follow the system, not the master, not for the imam. Probably everybody else but the imam. Man, I'm told that 80% of the imams do not support the leadership. 80% don't support the leadership. And who did the majority of them follow? They followed the ones that didn't support the imam. I'm glad that somebody speaking up. Imam Ramadan, another imam, spoke up also. Somebody came up and made a study against his life because he spoke up about the damn dictator.
Who is that?
Yeah. Yeah, Trump is a dictator. Everybody knew it. You see what's going on in Gaza? And how they can work on you when you get weak and weak and weaker. He says it's genocide. And they got these weak among us. They go and say it's a war. How in the hell could it be a war?
Exactly.
When one person got all the weapons, got all the technology, everything, the Gaza people in Gaza don't have anything. And they got you saying, yes, a war. It's not a war, it's genocide.
That's what it is. That's what it is. That's exactly, it's a slaughter. Oh, you don't want to call it, it's a slaughter. When you kill women and children sitting in a tent that's starving, or when you tell them to come here and get some food and then you shoot them down. No, man, look, that's what pushed Prophet Muhammad to stand up. He looked at the injustice in the society that he was in. He said, I can't take this. No. I can't accept this. They just be quiet, and you'll be all right. His family was a very prominent family. All he had to do was go along to get along. But the cowardice that I see, it turns my stomach.
Yes.
It turns my stomach. I'm sorry.
Assalamu alaikum.
And you got those that won't say, well, you know why? Because they dangle the wealth in front of them. So if you say anything against Israel, if you say anything, they're waiting for, you got a contract coming up in 6 months.
Yeah.
And if you say anything, you'll lose all that. You lose that house and the wealth and everything you got. So fear has taken over. Fear has taken over.
Well,
Yeah.
the court just ruled against Trump on Harvard University. Trump said that if they didn't do what he told them to do, he was going to take their funding. The court just told him no, he didn't have the right to do that. Brother Imam Kareem, I see your hand is up.
Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. Alhamdulillah. You hardly hear anyone speak of the genocide that is occurring in Sudan.
That's another one.
Yes, the children are being starved to death, slaughter of innocent people. And the Western press never mentioned what is happening in Sudan. I made it a point, praise be to Allah, in one broadcast to share what is happening in Sudan. A life is a life. It doesn't, regardless to what ethnicity you are, or what religion or whatever.
Yes.
Allah says to kill the life of one innocent person is as though you are killing all of humanity. So we want to also put Sudan, what is occurring in Sudan, and how the Muslims are being put in concentration camp in China. So I'll stop right there, my brother, but we have to be able to, people that are aware of me, they hear me say, we've got to the place whereby we don't even talk in just plain human language. We don't just talk flat foot. We speak as if we're giving a khutbah. Wrong with khutbah. But I'm so grateful that there are those of us that's willing to talk human to human. So I'll stop right there. There are many things going on, but no one thinks that Allah test us. Allah test us. I want to be very short on this to share with you what Allah says in the third surah of the Quran, the ayat 186. I seek refuge with Allah from the curse of Satan. I will only read Yusuf Ali's commentary on the ayat for the sake of time. I seek refuge with Allah from the curse of Satan with the name of Allah, the most merciful and most benefactor. Praise be to Allah. You shall certainly be tried and tested in your possessions and in your personal selves. And you shall certainly hear much that will grieve you from those who received the book before you and from those who worship many gods. But if you persevere patient and guard against evil, then that will be a determining factor in all affairs. Well, who controls the determining factor? It is Allah. Not trying to please other people, but to please Almighty God, Allah. And He sends us through these tests. He said, you will certainly be tried and tested in your possessions and your personal self. And you shall certainly hear much that will grieve you from those who received the book before you and from those who worship many gods. But if you persevere patiently and guard against evil, don't return evil your own self. They're breaking the laws and slaughtering us. Let's do the same to them. Allah said He created the creation for just ends. We may not receive justice in this lifetime, but we will receive justice on the last day, the day of accounting. So this is a test for us. That's all. But stay pure. Keep the faith. Keep the faith. And the courage to speak out against what is wrong and change what you can. I'll stop right there, my brother. This is a major test on us, what we are witnessing. So let me say that Allah will use a bad people, to chastise and put pressure on the righteous. But that is a means of test. I'll stop right there, my brother. Thank you, Imam.
Alhamdulillah. Yes, well, he definitely tested us with Trump. And these people are failing the test. They're scared to death of this man. And the law is showing you right there, the man is sick. It's showing you that he's breaking down physically right in front of you and mentally. He's been breaking down mentally. Morally, he was never built up. But this is a man that they look up to. And Allah can take him with the snap of a finger, just like all the rest of us. He says, kun fayakun. Either you believe that or you don't. So may Allah bless us with faith, increasing courage, and a heart that feels for humanity and not a selfish heart. We pray, Allah, that you have a blessed Jummah and that you remain healthy and happy, you and your family. And until next time, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Assalam.
Praise to Allah.